Japan's transformation from a secluded feudal society to a global superpower is one of the most remarkable stories in history. In this video, we'll uncover Japan's fascinating journey, from its feudal roots to its role in World War II, the rise of kamikaze pilots, and the devastating atomic bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Stay with us as we explore how Japan overcame incredible challenges to become the technological and economic leader we know today. Japan is well known for its unique culture, knowledge, customs, philosophy, and, in recent decades, its technological growth. However, for much of its history, Japan was an island that lived under a feudal system, which lasted from the 12th to the 19th century. This system ended when feudal lords were forced to return power to the emperor of the Meiji dynasty. Even so, in the following years, Japan remained an essentially agricultural country. During World War I, Japan supported the Triple Entente, led by France, the United Kingdom, and Russia. It played a key role in protecting the Western Pacific Ocean and the Indian Ocean, occupying some islands that were under German control. Did you enjoy learning about Japan's incredible journey through history? Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to our channel for more in-depth historical content. Your support helps us create even more engaging videos just for you. Join the community today. As a result, by the end of the war in 1918, the Empire of Japan emerged strengthened, becoming a regional power and a key player in geopolitical matters in the Far East. Furthermore, the victory in the war reinforced the Japanese sense of identity and belonging and heightened an already growing sense of nationalism. However, Japan was dissatisfied with the post-war treaties, which did not give it the recognition it sought for its contributions. Frustrated by Russian expansion in the East and seeking to increase its influence in China and Korea, Japan gradually distanced itself from its World War I Western allies and aligned itself with other nations. The First Alliance Treaty was signed with Germany, which had been defeated in World War I, and Italy, which had switched sides during the war but, despite ending on the winning side, was dissatisfied for reasons similar to Japan's. These nations also shared fascist and ultranationalist ideals. In 1936, the three nations signed an anti-communist treaty. By 1940, they formalized the Tripartite Pact, agreeing to mutually assist each other in case of an attack. With Germany and Italy already battling in the theaters of World War II, Japan, the last ally of what became known as the Axis, officially entered the war on September 7, 1941. However, Japan had already been in conflict with China since the late 19th century. Hostilities reignited in 1937 due to Japan's imperialist ambitions. Japan occupied Manchuria, a key Chinese region bordering Mongolia, and had also annexed Korea as early as 1910, establishing a foothold on the Asian continent. Manchuria's importance lay in its abundant natural resources and its role as a market for Japanese products. Before World War II began, Japan attempted to advance into Soviet territory in the Far East via Mongolia. In December 1941, Japan attacked Pearl Harbor, a U.S. island base in the Pacific Ocean. The surprise attack dealt a devastating blow to the American naval base. The attacks were carried out by fighter planes and mini-submarines. The U.S. government was shocked by this action, as there had been no declaration of war or warning from Japan. The attack claimed 2,400 American lives. The assault on Pearl Harbor was the catalyst for the United States' entry into World War II, which was confirmed immediately after the attack. In the same year, Japan also attacked other U.S. and British territories. By 1942, Japan had occupied the Philippines, Singapore, and Indochina. During these occupations, the Japanese became infamous for their brutal and inhumane treatment of occupied nations and their enemies. From 1943 to 1944, Japan experienced a period of decline in the war, being forced into a more defensive position. Japan's lack of a strong navy comparable to the major powers made its war efforts increasingly difficult. In October 1944, Japan organized the first aerial attacks known as kamikazes. The kamikazes were Japanese pilots who, in a coordinated manner, sacrificed their lives by piloting bomb-laden planes into enemy ships. The word kamikaze means divine wind and became synonymous with sacrifice. the kamikaze pilots considered it an honor to fulfill their duty to the empire, drawing on the legacy of Japanese samurai culture. Kamikaze attacks targeted British and American aircraft carriers and ships in the Pacific. By 1945, Japan was already highly disorganized and weakened but resisted as best it could. By then, Italy had been liberated by the Allies, and Germany was defeated in May of that year. Japan remained as the last Axis power. August 1945 became decisive for Japan's surrender. On the mainland, the Soviet Union engaged directly with Japanese forces, supporting China and returning Manchuria to Chinese control. Korean resistance forces also succeeded in liberating Korea with Allied support during this period. However, the defining moment for Japan's surrender came on August 6 and 9, when the United States, in retaliation for Pearl Harbor, dropped 2 atomic bombs on the cities of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. The bombs caused mass destruction, killing up to 200,000 people and leaving many more suffering from radiation-related cancers. Thousands more died from burns in the days following the bombings. Both cities were uninhabitable for a time due to the devastation. The Japanese army tried to resist for a few more weeks but ultimately surrendered on September 2, 1945. Japan faced several sanctions, including demilitarization, democratization, and territorial losses. However, Emperor Hirohito was allowed to remain in power. Among the reasons for retaining Hirohito were the uncertainty over his involvement in Japan's war crimes, his role in the surrender, and the fact that the Japanese population would not accept a Western leader. Hirohito remained Japan's emperor for a long time, ruling until his death in 1989 after more than 6 decades on the throne. Although much more democratic than before, his descendants still hold the title of emperor, with the current Japanese emperor, Naruhito, being his grandson. Despite the war's lingering effects, particularly those of the atomic bombs, which impacted thousands of lives and left a profound mark on Japanese society, Japan managed to recover economically. By the 1980s and 1990s, it had become the world's second-largest economy. With heavy investments in technology, Japan is now a completely different country compared to 100 years ago. Today, Japan boasts the 4th largest economy in the world and some of the most advanced technology, which will likely ensure continued growth in the coming decades.